Spencer Hendel here for the hand plan, talking about 19.3. Just looking at it from the get-go, we have 4-time 200-foot overhead walking lunge with the dumbbell overhead. It is a single dumbbell, keep in mind. 50 box step-ups, 50 strict handstand push-ups, and 200-foot handstand walk. For the RX versions, we've got a 50-pound dumbbell for my guys and 35 pounds for my girls. And then for the Masters divisions, we've got 35-pound dumbbells and 20-pound dumbbells for the females. Masters, make sure you check those scorecards because I think you guys get to do some elevated handstand push-ups as well. And my scaled individuals, you guys get to do some bear crawls. So make sure you take a look at those different versions if you're performing different variations of this workout. But just looking at this thing right off the bat, the top and bottom movements, just kind of looking at them, almost feel like not necessarily filler movements, but movements where if you go too hard on the overhead walking lunge and the handstand walk, you can really fatigue yourself and put yourself out for longer than you expect to. So especially here for this overhead walking lunge, they're in 25-foot sections. So you're going to go down and back several times. Every time you go down or go one length of that 25-foot section, change arms. There's no sense in hanging on to it the entire time with one arm because you're just going to fatigue that side. So go down on one side, switch the dumbbell, put it up overhead, and continue on going back and forth, alternating arms. Try to save as much of your overhead strength as possible. Then as we get into those box step-ups, this is where we want to do the least amount of work possible. With that dumbbell, you don't want to hold on to it because that's going to fatigue your grip as well as fatigue your shoulders, as well as even fatigue your triceps. We want to rest that dumbbell on the body and let the brunt of the weight be taken by the body. So if I can even take this dumbbell and stick it behind the shoulder or behind the neck, that's going to be the best place for this dumbbell. Here, I really don't even have to hang on to it. I can even use one hand to hold it in place, 2 hands if I'm feeling froggy, but I can also just alternate it. So if this hand's getting tired, I can switch. If this hand's getting tired, I can switch. And I'm just going to go up and down on the box with this dumbbell on my shoulders. We saw Bjorkvin and Frederick both do this on the open announcement, so we clearly see that it's something that should be utilized. Then, as we get into those handstand push-ups, we strategically don't hang on to the dumbbell and put the shoulder in any compromised position to try to relax the shoulders as much as possible to save ourselves for this strict handstand push-up. This year, it's just a box, so a 3-foot wide by 2-foot tall or 2-foot off the wall box. There's no requirement to get the heels over any line. So really, regardless of what the standard is, fatigue becomes a real issue here with the handstand push-up. You know, myself personally, I'd have to break these things up in small sets just to maintain really maintain the consistency with the handstand push-up instead of reaching a point of fatigue where I have to rest more than I ultimately want to. So you're going to feel awkward doing smaller sets, but you'll save yourself and end up being faster in the long run. So if it's sets of 3, if it's sets of 5, if it's a set of 10 and then a set of 5, get something out of the way, get up there, knock out a few repetitions, but come down, shake it out, and then get right back up. Even if you have to do singles, kick up, do a single, and then come down. But always make sure that those hands are within the box. So I would recommend actually resting or setting your hands on the ground first before kicking up, unless you're comfortable placing those hands on the ground as you go to kick up into that position. But I'm telling you, on those handstand push-ups, don't push yourself to fatigue. Maybe it's sets of 1, maybe it's sets of 2, maybe it's sets of 3, but it'll save you in the long run. Then, if you get to that handstand push-up, you're going to look at it for a second because you're going to be hurting, you're going to be sore, you're going to be out of breath, you're going to be fatigued, but you got to get up and you got to make yourself start moving. Maybe you're able to, accumulate 5, 10, 15 feet on the handstand walk, but eventually those things are going to start to feel a little bit better, and you just got to get yourself moving because if you sit there and you look at the floor, guess what? You're not going to get started. So you got to make yourself kick up and you got to make yourself get started. And then, from there, have some fun with it. Try not to look at any one exercise too long, especially those handstand push-ups. Shake it out, get right back on it.